You know, it's funny. Homesteading is like any other thing in life. You know, you can categorize so much of what you do as just job hazard. Uh, and I know I'm not the only one that does this, but I'll be riding on the snowmobile, you know, somewhere miles away from home, and you look off the trail and you, God, that is such a nice piece of firewood standing there, you know? And it's like, if you're 5 miles from home, dude, why do you even care if that's a good piece of firewood sitting there? But you just do. You seem to automatically default to looking for firewood and all sorts of other stuff. For example, I gotta get my finger out of there because I'm throwing a shadow on the camera. But here's a stand of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spruce trees. 2 are for sure dead. 1 is really, really almost dead, that one with all the burls on it. And this one over to the left with all the bark that's missing off the butt there. It's still alive, but it's going. In fact, there's a 6th one right there and a 7th one right there. Just there's 2 little ones right behind the spruce that's right in front of me, and even over there's another one. So you start looking around and you're finding all of this available firewood. And while I'm a tree hugger at heart, I dearly love trees. I really appreciate that they keep me warm all winter long and provide me with building materials. And you're cutting down on the fire danger a bit too, you know, if you're getting rid of the old dry stuff. So I'll come back out at some point in time, probably this fall, and knock these buggers down and get them back to the cabin. And call it all good, because there's how many did I count? There's got to be 7 or 8 just in this little spot, and that's usually the way you find them. You find one and you look around and there'll always be more. And I found that it's easier when you're walking around out in the woods to looking for dead standing stuff, especially spruce. It's easier to do it on sunny days because you have a lot more contrast. Whereas when you go down on a cloudy day, everything looks dark, and you can spot a good tree from a lot further away on a sunny day than you can on a heavy overcast day. That's just what I've found, and I really prefer going out on sunny days looking for firewood. Spruce makes up the bulk of my firewood. I really love birch, but there's more prep time to it. You're going to find that you've got a lot more available ready-made firewood in spruce, because there's a lot of it that's dead standing and dead leaning and all that other stuff. So there's my 2 cents for right now. But I'm going to head back to the cabin. And like I said, it's spring and I got to find things to do. I got 14 hours plus of daylight and probably only 5 or 6 hours of needed chores to do. So I'll be doing a lot of something. Okay, here we go. My big fat shadow's in the way. When you choose your tree, take a close look at it and see which direction it's really leaning into. You see these two trees in the frame. Both of them are leaning over towards my left as I'm standing. The one to the left, because of where all the branches are, that's where, even though the branches are dead, that's still weight on the tree. And since it's leaning that way, it's going to want to go really close to that tree right there, and it'll probably get hung up. And it doesn't take much. I might be able to wiggle it down. But what I think I'm going to do is, you see this tree to the right, it's got a really big bend in it. See how it bends up there? So I'm going to take this one down first, because I think, looking at the way it's pointing, it's going to miss all of the other trees. And the weight is obviously going to carry it that way, with the top of that tree bending that way. Gravity is just going to naturally pull it in that direction. So I'm going to take this tree to the right first. And if you don't see any more video on this, it means it did get hung up, and I'm not going to tell you about it. So we're going to get started with that one. I just had to stop for a second. You get so used to trudging along and you're looking around, but you make a lot of noise. I do anyway. And every now and then something will sound like it comes from something other than you. And so you stop and let everything go quiet. And most of the time, it turns out, that it was you. You'd be surprised how many times I can, especially in the wintertime, I'll be walking along and go, is that a snowmobile coming on the trail. Sounds just like a snowmobile, and I stop and I listen, let everything go quiet, and there's not a sound. Whatever that sound was, it was me, or my imagination or something. But you do have to remember to be aware of things out here, because the bears are out. And I'm hoping that I'm making enough noise to where that they know I'm here, as opposed to surprising them. That's it's never. That can be kind of disconcerting, actually. So far, they've all ended up being like really funny stories, but like 6 months later. But anyway, just like I said, just when you're out and about in Alaska, just keep swiveling your head. Just because I'm walking along and the camera stays forward, that's because I'm holding it in my hand. I'm not, like steering the camera straight forward. It's kind of like pinned to my chest by my hand, but my head is always swiveling. And that's not meant to be like one of those drama Alaska imminent bear attack things kind of stuff, but they are around, and it's better to meet them on your terms than their terms. But anyway, it was nothing, so I'm going to keep walking.